Got a little interview here with him. How you doing, Greg?
All right, how you doing, Jeff?
Good, man. Good. So, the Crucified. Where did you get that? That's brutal, man.
Yeah, I don't remember who came up with it. It was either Jim, our drummer, or Mark, our singer. Before that, we were called KGB. It's pretty funny. We were kids, man. I was 14 years old when we started the band, and a couple of the guys were 17 or 18, and then the singer was, I think he's probably 15. So we were called KGB, and then we thought that was kind of lame, so we were fooling around with names. We almost called ourselves Directed Youth. But, there were a lot of punk bands, or at least a few punk bands that had youth tagged onto the name, like Youth Brigade and stuff like that. So we thought, we wouldn't do that. We had a song called Directed Youth. And then someone came up with The Crucified, and it came from the Bible verse, Galatians 2:20, where I've been crucified with Christ, blah, blah, blah. So someone came up with Crucified. I honestly, at the time, I thought it sounded like too serious, I don't know.
Too heavy?
Like
or whatever?
Too heavy, because at the time, we were just straight punk rock, and we were kids. I thought it was kind of, too heavy, But, we went with it, and it ended up being a cool name.
Right on. Yeah, because listening back to some of the older stuff, it was more punk, and then, of course, you guys went into the more crossover scene and sound, I guess, and I think it's good. What were some of your influences back then for that, and how, obviously punk, you pick up a guitar, and, that's the first stuff I started playing, simple 3-chord songs. I had a 2-chord song called Oatmeal, but that was stupid. And so, I could kind of see that, but, going into the more thrash stuff, who were you guys listening to at that time to kind of go that direction?
Well, we were all kind of into different stuff. I grew up listening to classic rock, and I was a big Kiss fan and stuff. That's the reason I started playing guitar. I wanted to be bass, But in junior high sometime, before the band started, I started, one of my older brothers got into punk rock and stuff, and like Minor Threat and GBH, stuff like that. I started listening to it, and I really, really liked the Dead Kennedys, stuff like that, Really liked it, and so when we started the band, we were kind of into that. We wanted to do that. And then, I think I was about 16. Won't say what year that is, but that's when I discovered Metallica. And
the downfall of society.
Oh my gosh, that was a whole different thing. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Because I dug punk rock. I loved it, but I was more of a metalhead. And now, so I heard this fast music, but metal guitar, guitar solos and stuff like that. And I was just blown away, and then started listening to more stuff, Anthrax and Slayer and, stuff like that. And just got really into it. But at the time, we definitely weren't, proficient enough on our instruments to be doing stuff like that. So we got into listening to some bands that we could play the same type of stuff. There's more crossover, like DRI and stuff like that. More hardcore bands and crossover bands that kind of mix metal with punk rock stuff. So that's kind of the vein we went in. And as we went on, the music got a little more with the metal edge, just because we got better at playing. Like I said, we were kids when we started. But it always kept no matter how metal the music got, it always kind of kept that hardcore side because of the singer, Mark, because he wasn't a metal singer at all. He was always more punk rock singer. So.
what's up with this Christianity thing? Greg Minier tells us next.
Did you guys start the band, because of your religious beliefs, or was it like, hey, let's just get together and play some music and try to be cool, and then it kind of went somewhere, and then you kind of found the religion thing, and you decided to use the band, like, to promote your beliefs, or was it like you guys were Christians first, and then, kind of did the band to promote that?
I don't know if we ever, like, really intentionally talked or planned on any of that. We all went to church together and stuff, and I think for me it was just kind of like it seemed like it was the expected thing for us to do, because we were into like some Christian music too. There were some good Christian bands that we dug and stuff, and it just seemed like it was something that we had to do. So I don't know if it was intentionally planned on or just kind of happened that way, but I don't think we ever actually said, we need to play for this reason. We just wanted to play music, and we just figured it should be Christian music, I guess,
Right.
So.
Yeah, I see that happen. Yeah, you definitely it was like that unspoken expectation.
Exactly.
And speaking about like going to church and all that stuff, like what's the difference to you, and anyway, your opinion of like religion and like a real belief in God? Because there's just so much bullshit out there just in the church, and it seems like the most Christian people is not that dude in the three-piece suit. It seems like that most time, and most time the most Christian like person, the coolest, most down to earth, is just kind of like the normal guys. I mean, what's your opinion of the difference between religion and true belief in God?
Well,
or
the church that I grew up in as a kid and through high school was so judgmental. It's exactly what you're talking about, and that just turns people off big time, because back then especially, if you start going to church, then you have to change, you can't be yourself and this and that, and just so many rules and stuff you got to live up to, and I'll be honest, my wife and I just started going to church, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. I haven't been to church in years,
right.
But I've always believed, and I think it's more widely believed and accepted now that, it's Christianity is an individual thing. It's your own relationship. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's, you know what right and wrong is and stuff like that, but
right.
For people, it's different, It might be different for you than it is for me. There's no real mold to fit into and stuff. So who can sit there and judge my life, I mean, unless I'm totally, screwing up and stuff, what might be wrong for someone else might not be really wrong for me. I don't know. It's just an individual thing, and as long as you know where you're at